This town is built on secrets, lies, and corruption. From the police to the politicians, everybody here seems to be bought and paid for by the mob, and they run everything. They control all of the money, all of the power, and they'll stop at nothing to keep it that way. If you don't play their game, they'll destroy you. Hey, it's me. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of City Prime, where the entire town is controlled by a secret organization known as the Syndicate. The Syndicate has been around for decades, controlling the town from the shadows. They've bribed every politician in office and have a tight grip on the police force. But not everyone is happy with the way things are going. A young reporter named Jack Hartigan is determined to expose the Syndicate and bring them down. He's been digging for dirt on them for months now, and he finally thinks he has something that will stick. But when he goes to print his story, he's stopped by the editor who tells him that the Syndicate has threatened him. If he prints the story, they'll make sure he never makes it out of this town alive. Jack is torn. He wants to expose the Syndicate, but he also doesn't want to die. What will he do? In the meantime, let's take a look at some of the evidence he found against the Syndicate. They were running a protection racket, shaking down local businesses and demanding money in exchange for protection. They also had a tight grip on the town's supply of illegal drugs. They were even involved in human trafficking. The Syndicate was also responsible for a series of mysterious deaths that had occurred in the town over the years. Every time someone got too close to exposing them, they were killed and made to look like an accident. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Jack started following one of the Syndicate's members. He soon discovered that the man he was following was being tailed by two other men, who were also part of the Syndicate. Jack knew he was onto something big when he saw those two men break into a local politician's house and plant a bug in his phone. With the help of a few friends, Jack was able to track down the leader of the Syndicate. His name was Don Angelo, and he was one of the most powerful men in town. He ruled the Syndicate with an iron fist and was responsible for all of the crimes that they had committed. Don Angelo was also the target of a federal investigation. But the FBI had been unable to build a strong enough case to prosecute him. That's why Jack decided to step in. He wanted to give the FBI what they needed to take down the Syndicate once and for all. Jack began to piece together the evidence against Don Angelo. He uncovered a massive web of deceit and corruption that reached all the way to the top. Don Angelo had bribed the mayor, the police chief, and even the governor. He was involved in every major crime that had occurred in the town for the past decade. Jack knew that he had to be careful. Don Angelo was a ruthless man, and he would stop at nothing to protect his empire. But Jack was determined to see this through. He didn't care if it cost him his life. With the help of a few trusted friends, Jack published his story about the Syndicate. The entire town was shocked. Had no idea that this was going on right under their noses. The story broke the back of the Syndicate. Businesses that were previously paying protection money to the mob refused to do so anymore. The police force began to crack down on the Syndicate's activities, and the FBI was able to build a strong enough case to prosecute Don Angelo and his top lieutenants. But not everyone was happy with the way things ended. Many of the townspeople felt that Jack had betrayed them by exposing the Syndicate. They had benefited from the mob's presence and didn't want to see it end. Others felt that Jack had put himself in danger for no reason. They believed that the Syndicate would eventually have come for him if he hadn't exposed them. However, Jack didn't regret anything. He had done what he thought was right, and he was willing to pay the price. In the aftermath of the story breaking, Jack and his family received numerous death threats from the Syndicate. They had to go into hiding for a while until the heat died down. But eventually, they were able to return home. Jack's reputation was ruined, though. He was no longer welcome in town and had to find work elsewhere. But he didn't care. He had taken down the Syndicate, and that was all that mattered. So what did we learn from this story? Sometimes the truth can be dangerous. When Jack first started investigating the Syndicate, he knew that he was putting himself in danger. But he was willing to risk it all to expose the truth, which should admire his courage and determination. No matter how powerful the Syndicate was, Jack wasn't afraid to take them on. We should also be aware of the signs of corruption. The Syndicate was able to operate in this town because the people in charge were corrupt. The mayor, the police chief, and even the governor had been bribed by the mob. It's important to be aware of the signs of corruption so that we can stop it before it starts. Finally, we should remember that the truth always comes out. No matter how hard the Syndicate tried to cover up their crimes, Jack was able to expose them. The truth may not always be easy to find, but it's always worth it. Now let's talk about the importance of standing up for what you believe in. Jack didn't just expose the syndicate because it was the right thing to do, but he also risked his own safety to do it. It takes a lot of courage to stand up for what you believe in, especially when the odds are stacked against you. But Jack showed us that it can be done. Don't be afraid to speak out against injustice and corruption, no matter how powerful the people who are perpetuating it may seem. Next, let's discuss the power of the free press. In today's world, it can feel like the media is controlled by a handful of wealthy individuals and corporations. But it's important to remember that the free press is essential to a functioning democracy. It's our job as citizens to support and protect the free press, so that we can continue to have access to the information we need to make informed decisions. Jack's story is a reminder of the power of the free press. Without the free press, the syndicate would have been able to operate without being exposed. Finally, let's talk about the importance of justice. The syndicate got away with their crimes for so long because the people in charge were corrupt and unwilling to enforce the law, but eventually justice was served. The syndicate was taken down, and Don Angelo and his top lieutenants were arrested. We should never give up on fighting for justice, no matter how powerful or well-connected the criminals may seem.
Thanks for watching.
If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.